It was a thrilling week of events with women's soccer heading into its final games, basketball starting back up, and football looking to continue their hot streak and extend their season. Welcome to Capital City Sports. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Capital City Sports. I'm your host, Katie Anger. Basketball is back. It is opening weekend for men's basketball teams as they host Louisiana Tech on Friday night. D'Angelo Stevenson was at Colonial Life where he had the coverage of the game for us.
Basketball is back here in Columbia, South Carolina as the Gamecocks host Louisiana Tech in their first exhibition matchup of the year. Sendarius Thornware, he returns for his senior season as he helps the Gamecocks reach the NCAA tournament after a successful season this year. Let's see how they did tonight. The Gamecocks are coming off their best season in school history a year ago. They look to ride that momentum as they tipped off Saturday night. The defensive intensity was shown early for the Gamecocks as Sendarius Thornware gets an early block, but Chris Silva is called for the defensive foul. PJ Dozer rises up for an easy three. He had an impressive game on Saturday with 17 points. The passing lanes were played early by the Bulldogs as Daquan Bracey steals it and gets an early transition too. Sendarius sets the tone early in the second half with an easy inside bucket and a setup for his teammate Dwayne Notice for an open three. But the Bulldogs weren't out of it with this impressive spin move and dunk by forward Omar Sherman. The defensive intensity for the Bulldogs was shown as Jacoby Boykin steals it and gets an early transition dunk, but a taunting foul was called after the play. Chris Silva sets the momentum for the Gamecocks with an impressive dunk on the offensive end and a monster block on the defensive side of the ball. Bracey was the high-scoring man for the Bulldogs in the second half, but it was the Gamecocks' hot shooting that led them with the win, 76-85. The Gamecocks came away with the win 85-76 against the LA Tech Bulldogs. Even though their transition play was a little bit sloppy, they were able to get the win off of Sendarius' 18 points and 7 rebounds. The Gamecocks play Holy Cross on Sunday here at Colonial Life Arena. On behalf of Capital City Sports, I'm D'Angelo Stevenson.
After a historic undefeated season, the Gamecock women's soccer team headed into the NCAA tournament with an extraordinary overall record of 18-1-1. The team hosted Alabama State on Friday night where Emma Milner covered the action for us.
The Gamecocks have kicked their way into the NCAA tournament after completing their record-breaking regular season. They'll be hosting the Alabama State Hornets in their first-round matchup. Coming off their loss to Florida in the SEC semifinals, the Gamecocks were ready to redeem themselves. Just 8 minutes into the game, forward Savannah McCaskill put South Carolina's first point on the board off of an assist from Chelsea Drennan and Sophie Groff. Almost immediately following her 17th goal of the season, McCaskill then assisted Groff, who made the score Carolina 2, Alabama State 0. The Gamecocks were unstoppable at this point, with 4 more goals by Deja Griffin, Chelsea Drennan, Alexa Bear, and Claire Studebaker in the first half alone. Their momentum followed them into the second half with a goal by Sophie Groff 8 minutes in. Alabama State tried to step up their game, but they were no match for the Gamecocks. South Carolina beat the Hornets with a final score of 7-0. This was also head coach Shelly Smith's 200th career win here at Carolina. The Gamecocks will be taking on the winner of the Oklahoma State-Colorado game in round 2 of the tournament. For Capital City Sports, I'm Emma Milner.
Since the quarterback change to Jake Bentley, a spark has been ignited in the Gamecock football team. This has led to a 3-game winning streak, including 2 huge wins against SEC rivals such as Tennessee and Missouri. Lauren Schwartz headed down to Gator Country to see how the freshman quarterback would handle his first away game.
I'm here at the Swamp where Coach Will Muschamp makes his return as the Gamecocks head coach. The team's winning streak would be extended to 4 games if Coach Muschamp found success against his former team. It's Jake Bentley's first career road start, and the big question is whether he can maintain his hot streak away from Williams-Brice Stadium. Following a quick 3-and-out by the Gamecocks, Gators quarterback Austin Appleby keeps the ball and rushes for a gain of 33 to the South Carolina 6-yard line. That would set the offense up for a strong start as Appleby's pass to Lewis gives the Gators an early 7-0 lead. The Gamecocks were unable to answer back. Bentley attempts to pass to Hurst, and it's popped right out of his hands. The Gators have an impressive punt return and make their way down the field to the red zone, only to turn the ball over to the Gamecocks on a fumble that's recovered by Jamarcus King. They fail to capitalize on the turnover and end up having to punt back to the Gators. That'll take us to the second quarter, where Appleby drops a perfect 18-yard throw to Fullwood in the end zone. The Gamecocks now trail the Gators 14-0. Hoping to ignite a spark in his offense, Bentley scrambles up the middle for a gain of 11. His efforts are lost as he gets sacked and fumbles the ball. The Gators recover the turnover. They're forced to punt by the Gamecock defense, and Chris Lamons is set to make the punt return. The second the ball hits his hands, he's trucked by the Gators' Chris Thompson. Penalty flags are thrown immediately, and Thompson is disqualified for the remainder of the game for targeting. The offensive woes continue for the Gamecocks, and their emotions begin to come out. Brian Edwards slams the ball in frustration following a dropped pass. Another major issue for the Gamecocks in the first half was missed tackles. They nearly put themselves in an even deeper hole on this punt return by Callaway. He weaves his way through all the defenders into the end zone, but the touchdown would not count because of a holding call. At the end of the first half, the Gators still held a 14-0 lead. They start to pull away in the third quarter as Pinheiro nails a 54-yard field goal to extend their lead to 17 points. The Gamecock offense continues to struggle, and Bentley is sacked for a loss of 6. They're forced to punt. Appleby stays hot and finds Fullwood on the sideline for an impressive 30-yard completion. Another good field goal by Pinheiro puts 3 more on the scoreboard for the Gators. Things take a slight turn in the Gamecocks' favor in the fourth quarter as pass interference is called on an attempt to David Williams. Bentley searches for an open receiver and finds Rod Talley for a gain of 19, putting them all the way on the 1-yard line. A handoff to Williams, and he breaks into the end zone. With only 6:53 remaining in the game, the Gamecocks finally get on the board. They trail the Gators 20-7. The offense tries to make up for their poor play throughout the game. Hurst battles a Gator defender for a 47-yard gain. No spark was ever able to ignite within the Gamecocks, and they fall to the Gators by a final score of 20-7. Following the end of the game, numerous Gator players and staff rushed over to greet their former head coach and exchange hugs. It wasn't exactly the homecoming that Coach Muschamp hoped for, but the team returns home next weekend to face Western Carolina, and they're optimistic. A win in that game would mean they are bowl eligible. For Capital City Sports, I'm Lauren Schwartz.
That's it for this week's episode of Capital City Sports. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at CCS on SGTV to keep up with all things Gamecock athletics. Until next time, I'm Katie Anger.